Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 signs you're watching a British movie.
Forget the Hollywood gloss and straight white teeth. We'd rather have grey skies, dingy pubs and dodgy slang.
Now you're talking.
That's funny because I live down the street from Hollywood, literally, and my teeth are pretty straight. I had braces. They would be wider if I didn't drink so much coffee.
Now you're talking.
Welcome to Watching Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 signs you're watching a British movie.
Oh, let me see if I can predict what he's going to say. Shots of Parliament, shots of Big Ben, overcast skies, farms, tea, the accents, Harry Potter, Graham Norton.
For this list, we're looking at commonly seen and overused stereotypes, locations, and general conventions that may make sense to us but could baffle and bewilder overseas audiences.
Okay.
Number 10, it only exists in London.
London is the place for me.
Yeah.
London, that lovely city.
Many of the United Kingdom's iconic films fail to acknowledge any sort of life outside the capital, forever perpetuating the myth that the UK is just London surrounded by a bunch of fields. Whether it's the Hugh Grant-dominated 1990s rom-coms, or some sort of quirky, happy-go-lucky family film in which they all cram into a Zone 1 townhouse, you are guaranteed to see plenty of the city. And what British film wouldn't be complete without those much-used establishing shots of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament?
Huh. I guess I sort of got that one. Yeah, if the whole film takes place in London, it would be smart to shoot it in London. It would be really hard to shoot a film in, say, Atlanta and have it look like London. Maybe not. Green screen, a volume, but it would probably be more expensive. Okay, this one seems obvious. What's number 9?
Number 9, stylized swearing. From regal rants to disgruntled gangsters, the air in British films tend to be as blue as the sky is grey.
Yo, I literally just reacted to a video about the differences between American and British comedy, and one of the things the guy said was British comedy is more dialogue-based, and American comedy is more behavioral-based. So stylized swearing fits in this is confirming that. Sorry to stop it.
Bagger, bagger, baggity, baggity, baggity.
As Colin Firth proved to us in The King's Speech and Nick Frost in Shaun of the Dead, swearing really can be made into an art form.
Can I get any of you a drink?
It's no secret that we Brits love ourselves a bit of creative cursing, and so there are plenty of potty mouth put-downs to please even the most prudish of patriots.
You f***ing Dr. White, onking jamrag, arcing spunk bubble, I'm telling you, H, you keep looking at me, I'm going to put you in the f***ing ground, I promise you.
Some of the bad language is more subtle, but for every under-the-breath F-bomb, there is no Kentucky
that guy's
in full
great
force.
cursor.
That is not our line. Walk the f***ing line.
This guy. You know, some people when they get angry, it just is funny. And he's one of them. I think he's from Glasgow.
Number 8, niche cameos. Almost like an inside joke, a very British film trait is apparently random walk-ins of well-known homegrown celebrities.
I like a hairy toe, learning to rock and roll.
Although they can sometimes be quite high profile, like Kate Moss appearing in Absolutely Fabulous the movie, or Lemmy's part in Eat the Rich, there are others which only we Brits would appreciate.
Oh, that's George Harrison.
It's a great chance for our beloved TV personalities and musicians to showcase their sometimes questionable acting skills, as shouts of "it's that guy from that thing" can be heard from cinemas nationwide.
Collect your brand, back on the barge.
Number 7, the rise...
David Beckham does not have a voice for theater or film.
Number 7, the rise of the underdog. We Brits sure like to see our on-screen everyman rising up against the odds and succeeding at their impossible tasks. Whether it's getting the girl, in some way proving themselves, or just generally saving the day.
That does not jive with what I know about British characters. Usually, British characters are losers who get shat upon from great heights. But maybe that's just the comedy. Maybe that's just comedy characters I'm thinking about.
These heroes certainly don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear dressing gowns, and in some cases, they don't wear anything at all. Self-deprecating, awkward, and extremely over-British at times, they're the ones who grow in self-belief as the movie progresses while still remaining lovable and down-to-earth. If these guys can do it, anyone can.
All these people are idiots. God.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that one, Watch Mojo UK. I feel like that's something that's in a lot of movies. Like, that's just good storytelling. you know? That's the hero's journey. That's not just British. If anything, it's American. Sorry.
Number 6. Budget blockbuster. The British don't quite do blockbusters like the folks overseas, but that's not to say that the fruits of our labour aren't equally as brilliant.
Colin's been stabbed!
With plenty of over-the-shoulder rig shots and shaky footage that does not all seem out of place, Brit flicks have a real immersive feel to them. It is often said that British films look gritty, and it is this iconic style that makes our movies so recognisable.
That bench, you bastard! I'm the daddy now. Next time I'll f***ing kill you!
One of the greatest films to use the handheld technique is arguably 28 Days Later, which can almost leave you literally breathless.
It's great. It's just great. Also a celebration, I'd say.
Yeah, that's interesting, you know? I feel like that documentary style camera, handheld camera thing has become more popular in the past 10 years or so. It's always been a thing, but it's interesting too because I learned that if you want a scene to feel more grounded, you use handheld. If you want it to seem less grounded or more ethereal or weird, you put the camera on a tripod, like the all-seeing eye of God watching this take place, which is the opposite of what you would think because a handheld camera is ungrounded. It's like moving, but it makes you feel grounded. And a camera that's literally grounded on a tripod makes you feel less grounded. Isn't that weird?
Number 5. A legendary soundtrack. If you're born slippery or just a cosmic dancer, you simply can't deny that some British films have seriously epic soundtracks.
Quite alright, hiding tonight.
Injecting life and personality into the movies they accompany, these bangers become the heart of the movie itself, helping to make it even more famous. The iconic opening chase scene of Trainspotting wouldn't be the same without the military-style drum beats of Iggy Pop's Lust for Life, and the ska and reggae rhythms heard at the beginning of This Is England really helped to set the scene. Then there's the full Monty Q scene, the Billy Elliot dancing scene, and we could go on.
I don't know if I agree with this one either. I feel like all great movies pretty much have iconic music in them. That's just good filmmaking. I will say, though, that Edgar Wright is particularly good at using music in film and making it part of the scene, and he's British. And I'm thinking of all the movies that I know are British, and yeah, the music is substantial, usually. I mean, there are a lot of American films where the music is great. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely agree that British films have great music, but I don't know that great music is an isolated trait of British films. You know what I'm trying to say?
Number 4. Foreign villains. Think of any British spy or secret agent movie, and there's a high chance you'll also think about the central character fighting off a foreign nemesis.
Mr. President, the technology required is easily within the means of even the smallest nuclear power. It requires only the will to do so.
Often flamboyant and always European, these overseas foes are a force to be reckoned with, ranging from terrifying Russian businessmen who like to play golf to terrifying German businessmen who like to play golf.
My game?
You didn't come here to play golf.
Looking back, these stereotypes are outdated, which is probably why spy parody Johnny English made French villain Pascal Sauvage, with his plot to steal the crown jewels, so tongue-in-cheek.
Shall I try it on?
I love John Malkovich.
Yes? No? Maybe?
That's an interesting one. A foreign villain. What's interesting is that a lot of American films also have a foreign villain, but a lot of times the foreign villain will be British, you know? I love John Malkovich. He's so good. I love that he was in Mr. Bean. Oh, he was in Johnny English. That seems beneath him, but I love that he did it.
Number 3. Gritty northern towns. We've all heard of the so-called North-South divide, but British films seem particularly determined to hammer home the supposed split.
Thought you didn't like school.
I don't, but it don't mean to say I like work, does it?
For those movies that aren't set in and around the townhouses of central London, there are the lengthy terraces and regional accents of the North and the Midlands. Life in these towns and cities is often depicted as cold, grey and working class. Just think of most Shane Meadows or Ken Loach films ever made. But that's why they're loved.
There you go. Now you can go back to your desk and let us sign on and do the job that the taxpayer pays you for.
These films show something a little bit more real about the UK, proving we aren't all high tea and Hugh Grant.
Yep, I'll give this one to them, for sure. I can't think of many American movies or movies made in other countries that take place in the north of England or Scotland. You got one, Mojo. Way to go.
Number 2, jokes you don't get. British films tend to be much more subtle with their jokes when compared to American movies.
But what I will say is this. It's not the end of the world.
Such is the case that audiences may not always pick up on various off-the-cuff comments amidst a smattering of sarcasm. Some films may even require a second or third watch to pick up on the wry one-liners you missed before.
Put down and piss off.
Fucking hell.
The gags are everywhere in British movies, seamlessly intertwined in typically modest British fashion. And even films that seem 100% serious may surprise you with their dark, extra added moments of unexpected humour.
We've got to get some booze. It's the only solution to this intense cold.
This one's for sure. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of jokes in British films that I don't get, just because references are so different. And honestly, sometimes I can't understand what they're saying. Jokes you don't get will be the name of my memoir.
Number 1, realistic, bittersweet moments. So much for hopeful Hollywood endings. British films typically take the fairy tale idea of living happily ever after and run it over repeatedly in a vintage Mini Cooper.
I love that.
Focusing on realism first and foremost, you know you're watching a British movie when the story isn't always a happy one. In these cases, we often follow some sort of emotional journey, or it could be that the protagonist is tortured and bullied, such as in Kes and This Is England. But if you're expecting to see all their problems disappear, sadly you're in for a shock. Because life's not always like that, and British movies bring the bleak in a big way.
I'm cleaning up and I'm moving on, going straight and choosing life. I'm looking forward to it already.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot less pressure to have a happy ending in Britain, you know? That also goes into the American comedy thing. In America, there's like this sense of hope, and movie studios want that happy ending because they do focus groups, and audiences say, we want happy ending. We want this character that we fell in love with to live on forever happily. But in Britain, the focus groups probably say, oh man, why do you live happily ever after? I wanted him to get shit on some more. Because I get shit on. It's like relatable to them. Or you. I do like gritty movies though, and I like movies that show the brutal, honest truth, realism, and not happy endings. You know, those are always like, those stay with you, make you think about stuff. I love that. We have some of those in America, but I see what they mean. The British films lean towards that, and the American films lead towards the happy ending. Lean towards the happy. Well, anyway, this was really interesting. Thank you all for watching with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.